Thank you very much, everybody. I will say first, I have kind of like a cold randomly, so apologies for my voice. But yeah, my name is Tyler Pittman, as Sophie said. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a transgender man. I have been out as Tyler and as my authentic self for 2 years now, which is an amazing thing to get to say out loud. I'm a student here at Iowa, and I am currently the president of the Iowa Trans Alliance. If you don't know much about Iowa Trans Alliance, thank you. We have our board right over there you can take a look at, talk with the vice president, but I'll tell you a little bit right now. Trans Alliance is a support group for transgender and gender diverse students who need a place to gather and find community. We meet every Monday at the Pride Alliance Center from 7 to 9 p.m. Absolutely everyone is welcome. You don't have to be trans to come. We love having allies there as well. But Trans Alliance meetings are usually group discussions. So what sort of things are we as trans students dealing with at Iowa? We've talked about academic issues, interpersonal or relationship conflict, employment, housing, healthcare access, a whole variety, all of the things that impact us, because obviously we're people like everyone else. We all have little concerns. And we have huge ones too on dark days. And so essentially it's a place for us to share our concerns and to ask for help from people who we know will understand us because they have that similar and shared experience. I think it's important to differentiate between what I call a safe space, like Trans Alliance, and a brave space, like here, right now. Yes, trans people need to be activists. We need to make ourselves heard, like this. Often we need to have difficult conversations with cis people and the people in power who don't understand where we're coming from. But we also need a place where we can go after all of that hard work. We need a place where we can recharge, where we can vent, where we can rely on our community. Because activism is a marathon. It's something that takes place over a long stretch of time. That's historically what has always been true. It is work that never ends, and you need energy to continue that marathon, to keep being an activist. And simply being a trans person, not even one who's engaged in activism, is exhausting. We all know that. So that's what Trans Alliance aims to do, trying to relieve a little bit of that exhaustion, to let people lean on each other instead of holding themselves up all on their own. I think a lot of us know how hard it is to be trans when you don't have a community, especially since many of us grew up here in Iowa. You might have thought that you were the only person like you in your town. Could have been true, but we know now that there are more trans people in Iowa. It's not just us. I mean, look at all of us here today, which is amazing to see so many of us. But a lot of us felt alone when we were growing up because trans people weren't visible in our communities. It could feel like you were the only person who is going through what you're dealing with. Now, what we needed in that situation, and what we still need today, is to see someone like us, a transgender adult who got to grow up and be themselves authentically. We need the example and the wisdom of our trans elders to remind us that we have always been here. And that's why I think the Trans Day of Visibility is so important. It is very hard to find those examples of trans people who have gotten to grow old and who are still here and being themselves, but they do exist. Trans people have been around since people have been around. There will always be people who have found a way to be themselves under an oppressive system. Thank you. What we're living through is oppression. There is a reduction in access to gender-affirming care, which we all know is life-saving and a miracle of healthcare. They have been restricting our rights to exist in public, to socially transition, the rights of children to be who they are. It is exhausting to see what new attack there is each and every day, but we have always found a way to make it through, and we will continue to do so no matter what. I want to tell you a story today about a person I know who found a way to live authentically, even though it was difficult. She is an amazing example of trans resilience and of that fight that exists within all of us to get to that life that we all deserve. This incredible woman, who I am honored to have gotten to speak with, is named Vicki Whitmore. Vicki is a trans woman who is 67 years old, which is incredible on its own. She lives in Sioux City, Iowa, which is over on the western border. If you don't know much about Sioux City, it is very conservative compared to Iowa City, so not exactly the location you would expect to find an out and proud trans woman. But as Vicki says, she just refuses to let people chase her away from her home. I found her story recently through the Iowa LGBTQ Archives and Library. Shout out to them. They're an amazing group. She did an oral history interview with the Sioux City Public Museum. And I was actually able to call Vicky and talk with her about her story. And it was one of the most inspiring experiences I have ever had to hear from a trans person at her age who has made it. She is sweet, she is hilarious, she is one of the wisest people I have ever met, but her journey into being an out trans woman was not easy. And so speaking with her and hearing the story of her life meant a lot to me, so I want to share the story with you all in hopes that it'll mean something to you too. Vicky was born and raised in Sioux City, Iowa. She spent most of her childhood in foster care, and she wasn't able to complete high school. She struggled with addiction for much of her life too, and she spent a long time in prison. And when she got out around age 40, she decided that she wasn't going to care anymore about what people thought of her, and she was going to transition. Vicky started her transition, which she lovingly calls her transformation, in 2000. Gender-affirming care was not accessible in America at the time, so she had to travel internationally to get the gender-affirming surgery that she needed. But it was not easy. It was 2005, and Vicky's passport had been blocked for international travel because she owed money to the state. She had already made her payment to the clinic in Thailand where she was going to have the procedure, but it looked like the state was going to stop her from leaving the country. She went to a government office to explain her situation, and they said they would see what they could do, but there were no promises. Vicky told me that she went home after that, and she loaded her gun. She thought, if I miss this chance, where I can make my life my own, have the freedom to be me, then there is no point in living. And I'm sure a lot of us have had those kinds of thoughts. It gets dark, it gets hopeless. Sometimes it really seems like there is no way out of our situation. But then the phone rang, and Vicky made the choice, in that moment, to have hope and pick up the phone. She chose to believe that there was a world where things could get better for her. She told me her thoughts in that moment were, I can live for just one more phone call. And that call was the government calling to tell her that her debts had been voided and she was free to travel to Thailand. Vicky made it. In 2005, she got the surgery that she needed to feel at home in her body. She has been an out and proud transgender woman ever since, which is over 20 years. For reference, I am 19 years old. I was born in 2006. So Vicky has been living as her authentic self longer than I have been living, period, which is an amazing accomplishment. So great to hear about. After her transition, Vicky ran a halfway house for women who were getting out of prison. She was in charge there for 15 whole years, and she's now retired, which is great, because she deserves the rest. But she's so thankful for all the time that she got to spend helping women reach their own success stories. Her work is a testament to the strength of trans people and our ability to help others, even when we're facing our own extreme struggles. There was a lot of trans joy in Vicky's story, too. She has some great friends in Sioux City. Her friends' children call her grandma, which is super sweet. She just told me that she loves being a girl unapologetically. She used to drive her hot pink motorcycle around town all the time, which is incredible. Unfortunately, the motorcycle is no longer with us, but she loved it while it was here. She just said, why don't I just show everyone who I am? They already know, so I'm going to go out there, I'm going to show them my joy. Vicky loves her appearance and who she is, and she takes pride in it, in part because she had to work so hard to get to this place where she could feel comfortable in her skin. I think that is amazing, and I cannot wait until every single one of us gets to feel that way too. But Vicky's life as a trans woman in Sioux City is still not easy. She has faced harassment. She's often misgendered. But she told me that she has learned to just shrug all of these things off and keep being herself. It's not about me, is how Vicky puts it. These people disrespect her because they don't understand her, they don't understand trans people, or because they're unable to see her for who she is. But as she told me many times, she just thinks, that's your problem, not mine. If someone doesn't see her as a woman, quote unquote, that doesn't make Vicky any less of a woman. She still is who she is. And she told me you just have to be who you are, whether people approve of you or not. Vicky told me that she is worried for the younger generations of trans people. She knows firsthand how hard it is to be trans today, and she knows it looks even more bleak into the future. But Vicky's life and her success throughout all the challenges she's faced is a testament to the fact that trans people can make it. No matter how dark it gets, there are always going to be people like Vicky who choose hope and who find a way to get through it. It is my deepest hope that everyone here today will get to grow up and be just like her. It is going to be hard for us to get through this, but Vicky's story proves that people have done it. We are doing it right now. Trans people have always been here. They have always found a way, and we are going to keep doing that forever. Thank you.